Discounted prepayments and offering them to your clients. Why would you ever do that? Well, I'll tell you in a minute. But first, let me introduce myself. I'm David Saphir. I help companies manage their cash flow and increase profitability. Why am I making all of these recordings? Because I want you, whether you're a business owner or you're an accountant or a bookkeeper, and you need these skills because your company is struggling with cash flow or your client's company is struggling with cash flow, I want to give you tools to help them. There are too many good businesses failing all over the world. And I'm here to help as many people as I can stop the craziness and stay sane when it comes to having enough cash in the bank. So let's get into prepaid discounts. I want to tell you a story first, though. It's about a hailstorm. I'm not talking about hailstorm. I'm talking about, well, it wasn't that big, but chunks of hail the size of golf balls, some of them, that came down on my house. And it ruined the roof. You had little dents all over the roof. And so the insurance company said, David, here's a check. Go find somebody to replace your roof. So I had cash that I could spend any way I wanted to. Now, it meant that if it was too expensive, I had to pay for it. But I found a great guy, came highly recommended, and they were able to do it quickly and easily. And when we negotiated, we negotiated a good price. I was thrilled. It was less than the check. And then he said, David, if you pay me half in advance, I'll give you a discount. I was like, well, that's great. It was highly recommended, been in business for years. So I said, that's great. But if you want to, pay me half now and pay me as soon as it's done, then I'll give you a bigger discount. And I just jumped at it. Now, why would he do that? He would do that because it lowers his risk significantly when you get money up front. So that's where you come in to looking at if you are extending credit right now and you want to start getting deposits, there's a way to transition it. Or if you're taking credit card payments, well, that's a different day, but it's not that much different saying, if you give me cash, I will give you a discount, pay for it cash. Right now, I will discount whatever goods or services that you are providing to me. So how do you do this? Number one, it's fairly easy. Negotiate your best deal. And then do exactly what the roofer did with me. Just ask your client, or you've already got a client, right? You've already negotiated, you've got a contract in place, giving them 30-day terms. And you simply call them and say, listen, we are offering different credit terms if you would like. If it's not part of the contract, you can't force it on them. If it's a new contract, well, then you can start creating on your own, building this into a contract. Say, we are starting to offer to our clients a discount of 1%, 2%, 5%. Doesn't matter. That's for you to decide. If you pay a deposit, we are discounting the deposit. So if it's a $1,000 item and you pay $400 deposit, we'll reduce by 10% that $400. So you're going to save $40. So instead of paying $1,000, it's $960. That's pretty good. Or if you pay the whole thing up front or cash on delivery, we will discount the entire thing 10%. Now, I'm making these up literally on the go. It is according to your margins and the incentive needed by your customers to make this happen. Why would you do this? You would do this when you're realizing you're cash strapped and you're trying to fund the company internally. By being able to get money in faster, you'll be able to do the flow a lot easier. And I'm not going to get into it right here. There's not enough time, but generally getting money in faster is better. However, I will show you some strategies where extending payments is way better. But in this case, give them a discount. And sometimes it's a negotiation. If you are in really cash strapped, you can negotiate how much would it take for you to pay upfront. We're trying to raise some cash. And sometimes just being blunt about it, and it would work. They might ask for too much. Well, give us a 50% discount. Yeah, that's not going to happen, right? But if they say, well, 5% isn't good enough, would you give me 7? That you maybe could live with. It can be a negotiation in certain cases. Over time, you'll want to get to standardized, but if you're strapped for cash, the negotiations can work really well. Now, who makes the ultimate decision? You make the decision to try it, but it's your client who's ultimately going to say, yep, I'll pay you fast. Well, or no, sorry, I'm just as cash strapped as you are. I got to hold on to my money as well. So it's a little bit difficult to implement. Why? Well, you've got a mindset issue that you've got to overcome, but there's also a little bit of technical stuff. You're going to have to adjust invoices, track the discounts, etc. If you make this permanent, adjust contracts, but it shouldn't take weeks or months to implement. It should only take days. The hardest part is making the decision and making the phone calls or emails. Even if you've got a lot of customers, you could go out there with more of a mass production. But what I've seen is it's the phone calls that get the results. Now, you will be able to receive the cash sooner. However, this is profit negative. In other words, you will not make as much money. You will reduce your gross margins by doing this because you're giving a sales discount, which means you have less money to pay your expenses with. Just keep it in mind. However, there may be some new clients that are on the fence, and this can tip them over when you start talking about a little bit more of a discount. Remember, I struck my best deal, and then this roofer wanted to get the money up front, and so he asked for it after we had negotiated our best deal. That's something you can do, is negotiate it. So the accounting department's involved with this. The sales department can also be involved with this if it's part of an ongoing process or if they're part of the collections process. This does help with the root cause if you're doing it proactively. If you're doing it reactively, it's just fixing the symptom if you don't have enough cash in the bank. But if you make this a permanent part of your process, then it can actually bring more money in permanently. Now, it's only a slight shift and also causes a decrease in income. But if you can figure out a way to increase your sales because you're doing this, then overall, you're in better shape. So this helps you manage your cash flow. It can also help you maximize your cash flow and increase your profit. I've already given you an example of the roofer, but I can tell you there are dozens or hundreds of companies, I don't know how many you work with, that if you called them up and say, would you give me a discount? Now, this is working the other direction. They would say discount for paying early or paying on delivery, making a deposit. There are probably a lot that would say yes. So I would encourage you to go out and try this. And there's a preview to another one of the strategies. If you don't want to offer the discount yourself, just get on the phone. I'll go into more detail in a strategy video. Get on the phone and just ask for discounts for paying upfront or paying a deposit. That's if you have enough cash. So subscribe to my videos and you'll be able to see all 200 plus strategies. If you like this one, hit like, and don't forget, leave me a comment. If you've got a question, you want to tell me how much you love this. If you wanted to tell me how much you hate it and you think it's stupid, that's okay. I need the feedback.